With an AEW star possibly making the move to WWE and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. With TNA Wrestling noting that Jordynne Grace told NXT star Ariana Grace that fellow NXT name Wendy Choo is not welcome in TNA, Wendy Choo responded on X writing, "I'm coming to TNA whether I'm welcomed or not. I have more friends there than you know." Mentioning his relationship with adult film star Misha Montana, former WWE star Matt Riddle told Sports Illustrated, "I'm 38 years old. I'm not trying to fake anything or hide anything. Like, I don't want to hide a relationship and have my girlfriend be all insecure because I won't post her. I just want her to be happy. She makes me happy. Unfortunately, I felt like at times that would upset them or other people. My girlfriend would get death threats and stuff saying that she ruined my life. I just don't find that acceptable." Recalling a fight he got into in public, former WWE star Batista said this on Jimmy Kimmel Live, "I was in a Fuddruckers just minding my own business with my girlfriend. He started talking about her, so I turned around and said, 'Dude, what's your problem?' He jumped up in my face and said, 'I don't care if you're big, I'll hit you 3 times before you can hit me once.' He was so close and aggressive that I pushed him. He started acting like he was losing his mind, running around saying, 'Oh, no, no.' Then out of nowhere, he picked up a wet floor sign. I couldn't believe it. I was thinking, no way this guy is actually going to hit me with that. But then crack, he hit me right in the head with the wet floor sign. After that, he tackled me into the salad bar. The whole thing shattered." So yeah, to answer your question, people do pick fights with me, and I don't want to fight. I'd rather hug it out or have a conversation. It was crazy. Well, I did choke him a little bit when the police came. They charged me because they said I started the fight by pushing him. They ended up dropping the charges though, but yeah, I choked him a bit, and the whole thing was just trouble at Fuddruckers. Stuff like that doesn't happen to movie stars. I bet you didn't tell the Funky Bunch about that. When it comes to an AEW star's in-ring status, Ringside News wrote that back in May, Giulia announced that she had suffered an arm injury, and fans wondered when she would come back. After all, it has been several months since fans last saw Hart. Mike Johnson of PW Insider was asked about Giulia Hart's in-ring return status. Johnson noted that Giulia Hart has been backstage at AEW recently, but it was likely for a medical checkup rather than for a return to action. There's no specific timeline yet for when she might return to the ring. Revealing what he would be doing if it wasn't for his career in Hollywood, actor Terry Crews said this in a WWE exclusive. "If it wasn't for a couple auditions, I probably would have been a professional wrestler, but I just happened to be an actor first." As Smackdown is set to premiere on the USA Network, head of creative Triple H made this announcement before the show.
"For the first time in 5 years, Smackdown has a new home, live on the USA Network. How do you kick that off in the biggest way possible? Well, Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa, inside a steel cage for the undisputed WWE Championship. It doesn't get any bigger than that. For the rest of it, you'll just have to wait and see. See you there."
Explaining why he was frustrated with AEW over not punishing certain stars, Mark Henry told Huge Pop, "Tightening the screws requires you to be able to break your toolkit out. So there was a point where I realized that I wasn't there to tighten the screws. I was there for name recognition and visibility, and that's a horrible place to feel if you're a creative. I don't want to come across, I'm not whining and I'm not complaining. I'm stating the facts. But right now, everybody gonna be like, nah, Mark Henry just mad and bitter. I'm I'm not mad and bitter. I went there because I wanted to get experience being an executive, and I wanted to help that company flourish and help those guys that were over there be better than they were. I was working for those high fives from guys and girls coming back, and then there's some bad apples, and the bad apples have to be disciplined. Oh, they're disciplining people now, but nobody wasn't getting suspended or disciplined when I was there. I don't remember that. Asked who he would pick for members of a modern-day Evolution stable, Drew McIntyre wrote this during a Reddit AMA. Good question. Obafemi and Braun Breaker, these two guys are studs, and I see big futures for them. If given the opportunity, I would love to mentor them. Sheamus can do the Ric Flair role as he's so old. Giving her take on the violent scene at AEW All Out, Mercedes Moné said this in her Money Mag. All Out was extremely violent, and honestly, Daniel Bryan stuff was tough to watch. I have mixed emotions. When done right, that kind of stuff can tear a roof off like Daniels did. However, I wouldn't want my brother Joshua to watch stuff like that, or kids for that matter. Wrestling is multi-generational. I greet so many parents and their children at signings, and it warms my heart. Then again, there is an audience that loves the extreme, and you want to cater to them too. When you see your favorite stars going to the extreme, you may want to blame the promotion. Honestly though, it's the talent who will usually make the calls in the ring. While I credit talent who go to the extreme in terms of violence inflicted upon themselves, I also want talent to have longevity and to graduate from this world healthy and able to function. Personally, I'm at a place career-wise where I'd like to avoid extreme matches, unless it's a true big value add to the company. Recalling an insult from John Cena, where in character as Peacemaker, he said that Stephen Amell's Green Arrow goes to Baroni conventions dressed as the back half of Twilight Sparkle with a 4-inch wide butthole drilled in the costume. Stephen Amell responded telling Chris Van Vliet, yeah, that was a little unnecessary. I didn't appreciate that at all and was super pissed. It was crude, and by the way, I don't know if okay, I'm just gonna come right out and say this. There was such, between the movies and between Peacemaker a little bit, like our show was kind of treated like right? Like, I get it, we're on the CW, I get it, it's TV, but I also get the fact that, you know, when people think about the most recent iteration of DC, okay, they don't think about the Snyder Cut, they think about Arrow. And we got crapped on for years and years and years, and this just seemed excessive. I just remember hearing that and being like, F those guys. Seriously. Like, I'm up here, I'm working just as hard as anyone else. You know how hard it is to play a superhero with no superpowers for 23 episodes a year? It's really, really, really hard. And I'm like, I'm not looking for a prize, but maybe don't on our show. During that same interview, Stephen Amell said this about his experience in the WWE locker room. The only guy that I didn't really get along with was Roman Reigns, not for any particular reason, but I'm on a loop with these guys, and everyone was very inclusionary, and he just kind of keeps to himself. So I don't think it had anything to do with me personally, but he was the only guy that I never really got on with. Also, Stephen Amell revealed WWE's next plans to have a cage match against Cody Rhodes, telling Chris Van Vliet, I hope so. There's more story to tell with Cody Rhodes. I really hope so. First of all, I could not be prouder of that guy. To do what he did, to walk away, I don't want to speak for him too much, but I really do think that after our match at SummerSlam, Neville pinned King Barrett, and then they did the camera thing where as Cody's walking out of the ring, they got the camera on him, and they got the camera on me, which is the sign. Universal sign in wrestling, we're not done. We have unfinished business. And so the plan was, as best I can recall, there was a pay-per-view after SummerSlam, and then the October pay-per-view was going to be at LA at Crypto, Staples, whatever, and Cody and I were supposed to have a cage match. We were getting ready to send a ring up to Vancouver for me to do a bunch more training because I basically faked my way through the SummerSlam match. I could probably still take you through the beats of it right now. So the plan was to actually go more the length like I went with Christopher Daniels like 12, 15 minutes, and again, the plan was to lose clean. And then all of a sudden, Cody just calls me up and he goes, "Look, man, I don't know what's going on, but our match just got shelved and no one will give me an explanation why, and I am devastated and I'm deeply embarrassed." I was like, "Look, man, it's okay, that's okay," but I really think that was one of the contributing factors to him leaving. Mentioning the in-ring debut of Giulia on NXT, Bully Ray said this on Busted Open Radio: "I'm not so much a fan of the expressionless face. I'd love to see some more expression from her. It almost looks like she took a Benadryl before she went out there. It's a very flat look on her face at times. Like the entrance, like the presentation, like the look, like the mishmash of the gear. She had like fur last night and tassels and a lot of different things that came together. In the ring, I thought it was a good match for her against Chelsea. She's going to have to learn how to work the American WWE style." Staying on the topic of NXT, Dave Meltzer mentioned this regarding WWE's plan for the show on the CW network, saying on Wrestling Observer Radio, they, NXT, really want to hit 1 million viewers. I don't know if that's possible. I mean, put it this way, Punk is a really big draw, so I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, and they're promoting the show super hard, and there's going to be a lot of main roster talent, so that's the goal. Talking about his appearance on Raw in Calgary this week, Bret Hart noted in a WWE exclusive interview, "I didn't just assume or take for granted that they were going to invite me down tonight. Anytime I get a chance to be in front of the Calgary fans, because I think Calgary fans go back the furthest when I was 18, 19, it's a very special and powerful building for me to walk in. A lot of great memories here, a lot of title matches, even in the old Stampede Wrestling days, a lot of memories here. It's kind of a funny feeling to walk down the ring slowly and kind of pull yourself back into the ring and find yourself standing in the center of it and talking to the fans. I don't know if I looked a little nervous because I'm not sure that I was. Standing in the middle of the ring there for a few seconds, this transformation takes place. I think it transformed back into Bret the Hitman Hart for a minute for everyone. It was fun for me to do that. It was something that was magical, that was brought out by the love of the fans. There's not that many from my generation that are around anymore. Running into Triple H is always a pleasure." Speaking of Bret Hart, this was said regarding the original plans for his appearance on Monday, with Dave Meltzer saying on Wrestling Observer Radio, "It was originally scheduled to be Drew McIntyre confronting Bret Hart, which would have made more sense given that CM Punk is a huge Bret Hart guy. Gunther isn't that good enough to be standing in the same ring as him, so I don't know why the decision changed. Tony Khan would have 100% booked Martha Hart to get jumped by a man Punk despises, because that's just good TV." Announcing that she was reunited with former WWE star Mandy Rose, WWE's Sonya Deville posted this video.
"Reunited with my bestie.
Bachelorette weekend.
Oh boy.
Let's go.
Previously, former WWE star Amell revealed that she had suffered abuse at the hands of pro wrestler Tristan Archer. Now, she is facing repercussions from this, with her telling Fightful, "There are several issues with this statement. Firstly, I have attempted to address the situation internally with companies, individuals, and women. Unfortunately, in France, nobody believed me and instead pressured me to keep the matter internal. They all demanded proof of my accusations, claiming it was illegal to unbook him without evidence. In indie wrestling, where there are no contracts, there is no barrier to unbooking someone. It seemed that their priority was to protect him. I do possess evidence supporting everything I have stated. However, these proofs are solely intended for law enforcement, as I have provided them with all the necessary information. I would never risk compromising my evidence by placing it in the wrong hands. The individuals who requested proof of Tristan's actions are the same individuals who authored the statement. I want to highlight that I have not worked for most of these companies, including BCW, which typically does not book women, CACC, La Bagarre, and have only had one engagement with WPE. I have not been associated with Rix or APC for several months or years, and I did not have any upcoming bookings with these companies. Therefore, I fail to see the necessity for them to publicly announce that they will not be working with me in the future, as I am not currently engaged with them. This only demonstrates their support for him, despite numerous other colleagues and fans speaking out against him and providing testimony of his behavior, implicating him in legal proceedings. And yet, I am the only one who have been suspended, apparently. Are we all liars? This is discriminating, illogical, and may deter women from coming forward in the future. Furthermore, none of these companies reached out to me directly. They all consulted with Tristan before issuing their public statement. It is important to note that Tristan is either the booker or closely associated with the management of most of these promotions. I would like to clarify that my actions are not motivated by a desire to secure bookings. I do not feel prepared to return to France in the near future and have even canceled my upcoming bookings there. I appreciate the understanding of the promoter in this regard. Please show your support for them. Catch Prod. My primary goal is to create a safe environment for everyone and encourage individuals to behave more decently. It is essential for leaders to stop turning a blind eye to the actions of their wrestlers. Recapping the domestic incident that took place between Nikki Bella and her husband, Artem Chigvintsev, Ringside News wrote that WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella has broken her silence following her husband, Artem Chigvintsev's arrest on the charges of domestic battery and has recently filed for divorce, which has revealed an intriguing detail unknown to the public. In a report by People, the court documents filed on September 11th, 2024 revealed that Nikki and Artem's legal marriage didn't occur until January 2023, even though they held their wedding ceremony in Paris in August of 2022. As for spousal support, Nikki has asked the court to block any potential request from either party. Moreover, the documents also stated that Nikki is seeking legal and physical custody of their 4-year-old son, Mateo. The divorce filing came after an incident on August 29th when Artem was arrested for felony corporal injury to a spouse or cohabitant. This date is also listed as the couple's official separation date. The arrest that led to this filing began when Artem initially called 911 for medical assistance, but canceled the request shortly after. Despite this, authorities arrived and took him into custody. Although no formal charges have been filed yet, the case has been handed over to prosecutors. Nikki's decision to file for divorce was reportedly not a surprise, as she had been spotted without her wedding ring and was actively seeking legal representation before officially filing. As the AEW contract of Daniel Garcia is set to expire, he is eyeing a move to WWE apparently, with Fightful Select reporting that Garcia was considered for the win over MJF at All Out, and that those in AEW say he's not signed a new deal. Garcia has been offered a new deal, and AEW were hopeful he'd sign it before All Out, which didn't happen. PW Insider added that one top talent had been under the impression this summer that Garcia was staying, but that is far from a guarantee. AEW believes that WWE is interested in Garcia, but we've not heard if any contact has been made as of yet. In some unfortunate news, a pro wrestling star passed away, with Ringside News writing that Michael Scherer, who used to be a part of WWE Developmental as Mike Taylor, has passed away at the age of 47. According to PW Insider, Scherer, a former Marine and amateur wrestler, was signed by WWE in 2006. Scherer trained and performed in WWE's developmental territories, OVW, and Deep South Wrestling, occasionally appearing on WWE television. During this time, he also did motion capture work for several WWE video games. Scherer's friend and former WWE star Mike Mondo paid tribute to him on social media, expressing deep sadness over the loss and recalling their long-lasting friendship that began in OVW. Mondo shared heartfelt memories of their time together, especially the bond they developed over the years. This one isn't easy. Still doing my best to process this. Mike Taylor was the first friend I made in OVW, which carried over into a close friendship and brotherhood for the next 20 plus years. We were just texting a couple weeks ago. Chicago. You always looked and treated me like your younger brother. You've always had a huge heart. I'm grateful for all the great times we had in Louisville and of course the countless shoots on the West Coast doing mocap. Those memories will last forever. I pray for Mike's family during this difficult time, especially his kids, Isaiah and Mina. I love you, Big Mike. A-Team for life. Rest in peace, buddy. After being released by WWE in 2007, Cher transitioned to using the ring name Micah Taylor, though he also performed as Sandy Beach, particularly in Japan and Hawaii, where he was from. Under the Sandy Beach persona, Cher toured with 01 in Japan and wrestled in various countries, including the UK and Korea. He was a fixture on Southern independent circuits in Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama for years. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.